closely, but it seems like some of them kind of acquiesced to his very strong insistence on continuing forward. And I heard him say publicly, well, over my dead body, are we going to pay these women anything? So $8.3 million wired from our free cash pool into the law offices. I don't know how much the woman would get. And then, our own legal fees. So, why didn't we use our own legal counsel? We have a fully fledged legal department with the completely accredited, very knowledgeable people. Why did we have to go out and get external counsel in this case?
First, our legal department.
I don't think it's your turn to talk, but I'm finished, and now it's probably Leland's turn.
If you could jump in and say you're first, then I'd like to speak now.
I think we were going around in a circle, and it was like
I don't. So anyway, the law office for the city is a very basic law office, and when you're involved in very complex civil rights litigation, you need specialists who are litigators. So it was correct to get correct representation. At one time, 7 women sued the city for discrimination, 2 of whom were white and the others are black and Asian. The 2 women in the police department settled their matters long ago. That left 5. 2 people dropped out altogether, leaving 3. And the case where the woman was paid, both a judge and 2 juries found that the city had behaved improperly. The question you pose is the question, and Adrian Walker wrote about this in the Globe the other day. The problem in Cambridge is there is no outcry about this case at all, because our culture has evolved as a city to where if we're well managed and we have a lot of money in the bank, people's civil rights are secondary to that, and it's an awful conclusion to reach. But the outcry on this case has been silence in general, and I have never supported the city's proceeding with the case. I thought the cases should have been settled immediately. I wish they hadn't come, but I think it's a real testament to where the drift is. So because we have a city manager who's been here 30 years, who has done a generally good fiscal job, there are other things and values that people should acknowledge. And in this case, when you're found wrong that much, something should have happened. And I really, really regret that we have spent so many millions of dollars that could have been funding baby universities and offices of college success and things that, workforce programs. We really have a lot of people with a lot of need that could have been addressed with this money that we have paid in settlement of good money after bad, pursuing the manager's sort of notion that, I will use every penny I can to defend my name. Only Councilor Decker and myself, and lately Councilor Cheung, who are elected, have taken the position that the matter should have been settled at all times. That the matter should have been settled. We should never have appealed it, and we should have never pursued it in litigation.
So
Can I just interject one quick thing?
Yeah.
So the question that the case was kind of the backdrop for it, but if you'd rather address the general case about the system of government and how you think it's working, you can also choose to do that. The kind of city manager, city council, if you'd prefer to go with the general one as opposed to the case, feel
So I'll transition from one to the next. So I think the reason why I was happy to defer to Councilor Reeves to go first is because I wasn't here for the vote. I wasn't here for when a lot of this unfolded within the city council. So I've really had to rely on his experience and having been there firsthand and seen it to educate myself and get up to speed. After reading the case, I went to the manager. I said, you have to. This does not look good. This seems like we have a very low chance of winning on appeal, and probably the best thing in the course of for the taxpayers of the city would be to settle. But it's not that the city council was asleep at the wheel; it's that you had a minority of the council that wanted to pursue a different course, and so we have a strong city council insofar as you have 5 votes in the city council who are willing to tell the manager that they have 5 votes and they think that he should pursue a specific course of action. So frustratingly, I am not happy with the way this turned out. But the city councilors here tonight are under, by the ethics rules, we cannot divulge what happened in an executive session. We can't talk about the background that we know about what happened. I've consistently and staunchly been an advocate for transparency, for opening things up, and I think that will lead into, I think, what I would like to say about leadership going forward. So I think, you know, what happened is what happened. A lot of us are not happy. We could have used the money for a lot of different things. The question is, you know, where do we go from here on out? My personal feeling is that, you know, the city manager has accomplished a tremendous amount of good in the 30 years that he's been here. Prior to him coming, we were flipping over every 2 years. We had a string of 30 years where he has, I think, helped transform the city and helped bring the city into a place where we have a solid budget, where we have, you know, we have services that work. We don't have rampant corruption within the administration. Rampant. But, you know, I do think that said that it is time to bring a fresh perspective in, and that said, I think that if there, regardless of what happens, the fact is the matter is the contract is going to come up this next term, and so you want a city council that's going to be fully engaged, ready to dive in, and my ultimate goal is to make sure that this is a transparent, inclusive process. That's why I introduced the rules change, which was not uncontested, which you know, I had to get through, and Councilor Reeves helped me with this, but requiring the city council publicly post any new contract with the city manager before we vote on it, as opposed to afterwards. And I think that's going to put us in a much better position. I think that transparency is fundamentally good. I think that we owe it to people to let them know what the contract that we're going to sign is before we sign it. And so that's what I'm looking at going forward, is to have a transparent, inclusive process for whatever may come.
So if you want to continue on that, or if you want to talk more about the transparency issue, which was our next question, and then we'll see. I know that we're running out of time.
Well,
so
I do want to address this
question. Was
this
the
question,
next one? So whichever
it's very important.
Part you would like.
It's
to
actually
address.
very interesting about what's going on right now. This is one of the big reasons that I decided to become, run for city council. What's gone on over the last 30 years in the city of Cambridge seems to be that nobody's been held accountable, and the other three members of the city council right here are saying that
actually two.
Two. Sorry, Minka. Yes, the two members that are on the city council are telling us that they weren't interested in what was going on, and that seems to be what's the problem. It is the Attorney General's responsibility to keep track of what's going on with the city managers in this city, and it doesn't look like that's been done. I believe it was Ted Kennedy before our now Attorney General, I can't remember, Martha Coakley, yeah. And I've been trying to get a meeting with Martha. It's almost impossible. She really has no time, or maybe no interest in dealing with this problem. And as far as an outcry from Cambridge residents, everybody's up in arms. There's $11.3 million. It wasn't 8.3. It was $11.3 million that I heard that
it was wired into the law firm.
Oh, maybe, but I heard the city,
talking a lot of money,
the city,
whether it's
yes.
8 or 11.
Oh, absolutely. None of us at this table.
Several of the things that were.
Okay, we hadn't gone all the way around yet, so I didn't want to someone off.
So yeah, I was at the meeting where the city council all voted yes to pay off these people, to close this case. To me, it's a cover-up. That's what it is. Nobody wants to discuss why these people were discriminated against. Nobody wants to discuss the morality that's gone on here, the bad values, the terrible governing from our government. Yes. So I think that it's time for not only a change of a city manager, but the system that's in place there. I think that there should be more than just one person, or a city manager and a vice city manager. I think there should be possibly 3 people that could control a position that would be overlooked by the city council instead of overlooked by the attorney general, who seems to have no interest in overlooking this for over a decade.
So you're answering this question, which was just handed over basically, which is the oversight of the city manager, is it sufficiently effective to really limit his behavior, or certain kind of behaviors?
My question is,
Which you were just answering.
if city council, is it city council in effect the manager of the city manager?
We hire.
Are you hiring who?
Does that make you the supervisor?
And the majority can fire him. Yes, it is. Well,
And the contract comes up how often? Just
Every 3 years.
well, no, it comes up however long we negotiate. So there have been 2-year ones, there have been 3-year ones. It could be a 10-year one. It just depends on what the council decides the majority to do.
But do you have any influence over his behavior?
If we have 5 votes, we have influence. But the real question I would like to answer for you is the fact that the system, I think, is a good system, the planning form of government. The problem is when the manager has been here longer than anybody on the council, he tends to have a more power because of it. I mean, you have people on the council who know vastly less than the manager does, and exactly. And that makes his influence more, it's peculiar when you have someone who stayed this long. And many people are indebted to him in ways that cause them to support him no matter what.
I know that we have to move on. Any last words?
I could not say it any better.
Thank you.
This is I know a topic that comes up many places, and I think we've had a little.
Well, but I think it's
good
very
education
important to
about what your
understand
experience
on this
is
manager
and what other
thing
people's
that
issues are.
of everybody running, the only people who have not supported the manager slavishly are myself, Leland, and Margie. That's it. Whether they were on the council before or on there now.
Are you saying there's an ethical bright line?
Well, no, it's just, I think it is out of kilter because he has stayed so long. And he has the relationships with Harvard, MIT. I mean, we have 10, 11, and 12 members of the council in this way. I don't want to go on at the expense of time, but it's complicated.
So we're going.
I thought your answer was succinct and to the point, and I understood.